So guys, welcome back to the Ultimate Mathmech guide. As in the guide tier element I will show you the deck list, talk about the cards, the most important cards, explain the cards, and then after that we will go into some replays where I will show you, this time I will not show you like test hands like I did in the tier element video, but I will show you the combos, the first turn combo that you basically want to do and the kill combo that you want to do on your opponent's second turn. So let's just hop right in. And this deck is really cool. It's a combo deck if you don't know it, so it's basically like you want to do your combo and kill your opponent on normally your second turn. On your first turn you build a really strong board and use your Super Factorial, but more to that in a moment. So this is like a full combo deck, while tier element was like a control style deck. This is really easy to learn, I would say. I also play this deck in TCG. It's quite strong. I think it's still strong at the moment, though the Ishizu shufflers are a bit of a problem for the deck because he can just shuffle back your Methmechs from the grave and then you cannot activate your Super Factorial. I will explain this in a moment. So there will be better metas where this will be a better deck in the future. This will not get like big support in the future, but it doesn't need it right now in the TCG. It's still a strong deck in a different meta that is not tier element. And when the Bestials come, that are also basically like DD Crows and can remove light and dark monsters from the graveyard, then this will become even weaker. So it's basically not the best time for Mathmech. And if the Bestials come, then that's also the case, but there will be formats in the future, I think in like 2 months or something, where this will once again be one of the strongest decks, and it's still a super strong deck. I used this on my second account to basically win streak through to Platinum because I wanted to show you some Flan Louise plays, but more to that later. So let's start. We have DD Crow. This is only attack against tier elements. You can change this up for any other hand trap. This is one of the cool things about Mathmech because the Mathmech core is pretty small and you can run a lot of hand traps in this. As you can see, we have 3 Crows, we have an Effect Veiler, we have 3 Maxi, we have 3 Ash, we have 3 Imperm, and we have an Nibiru, and you could switch them out for other traps, hand traps that are better suited for the current meta. So that's really cool about Mathmech. So Effect Veiler. Effect Veiler is normally a basic card, you know the Effect Veiler, but Effect Veiler is important in this deck because of the Small World. Small World is a bit of a complicated card, but then again it's not if you understand it right. Small World is in the deck to search for our Mathmech Circular, which is basically the 1 card starter for the whole deck. This is the best card in the deck, and then after that the Diameter, which you can also easily search via your Small World. So obviously this is Effect Veiler. Effect Veiler can negate something, but this is also the bridge for Small World. So what is Small World doing? You activate Small World and then you reveal 1 monster in your hand and choose 1 monster from your deck that has exactly 1 of the same type, attribute, level, attack or defense, and banish the revealed monster from your hand face down. Sounds complicated, let me explain. You activate this card and let's just imagine we had a Nibiru in hand, okay? I will talk to you more about the bridges you can do. Let's say you have a Nibiru in hand, so what you can do then, let's say it's your first turn and you then don't need your Nibiru because you will build your board and then you do not want to activate Nibiru to destroy your own board, so this is basically dead in hand. So what you do then is you activate your Small World, you show your Nibiru, and now you have to understand that this is level 11, this has 3000 attack, 600 defense, this is a rock, and what's the other thing? And this is a light monster, so all of these things are important here. So you now have to choose 1 card out of your deck that has only 1 thing in common with Nibiru. So it either light, either 3000 attack, either this 600, either rank 11 or either rock. We then choose the Effect Veiler because Effect Veiler only has the light type in common with Nibiru. So light, and this has light because 0/0, 1 star, and it's a spellcaster. It only has the light attribute in common with Nibiru. We choose this, and what we can then do, these both get banished, and then we can choose another card from the deck that has only 1 thing in common with the Effect Veiler and add it to our hand. And then we can, via this effect, add, for example, our Diameter or our Circular, because the only thing that Effect Veiler and Circular or Diameter have in common is the light attribute. As you can see, this has 1500 attack, defense, and a Cyberse. So they have nothing in common, and this is level 4. They have nothing in common but the light attribute. So what you can do here is you activate Small World, show your Nibiru, show the Effect Veiler, and can then grab either your Diameter or your Circular. This also can work the other way around. You can show your Effect Veiler, show your Nibiru, and then get one of these. you can do other combos as well. You have Ash, right? So what you can do, and does this work with Mech C? Let me just check. It does not. But you can also do this with Ash. So if you have Ash in hand, so I'm basically talking about Small World now, but let me explain the Small World bridges because this is important. You can activate Small World and then show your Ash. Ash has 0 attack. Effect Veiler has 0 attack, but they have nothing in common but the 0 attack. So you could show the Ash, then show the Effect Veiler in the middle, because that's why we call this the bridge, because it's the middle part. And then you can also go into your diameter or your circular. So with this you can go into your place, with this you can go into your place, and also with Nibiru. Note here that you can also go into these two here with any other of these. So you basically always want this card here, and then after that you want this card. It depends on the situation. What you can also do is you can activate your Small World, and let's say you have your Addition in hand. So you can then show Addition and then show your Parallel Exceed, because these cards have only the Cyberse type in common. Everything else is different. And then you can also get into these, because these, the Parallel Exceed and the Diameter or the Circular only have Cyberse in common. So activate Small World, show this, 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 or even this, or even this. Show your Parallel Exceed, and then you can grab any one of your other Mathmech cards. That is super important. Also, what is important is that this must be the middle part. So if you start with the Parallel Exceed, then you cannot reach these cards here. So just to sum that up, you can activate Small World, use your Ash, use your Nibiru, use your Effect Veiler, or use any of your Cyberse monsters to go into your circular, and that's why this card is so strong. But you always have to like check your graveyard, because if, for example, Nibiru is in your graveyard and you want to use your Effect Veiler bridge, then you need the Nibiru in the deck. Otherwise, with Effect Veiler you could also go into the Ash, but if you have the Nibiru, for example, then you would need the Effect Veiler. This does not work over the Ash. So it sounds complicated. You will see it in a moment. I will show you in the live replay. It's pretty easy once you understand it. Then we have Mech C, nothing special here. We have Ash. I explained to you what this does in terms of the Small World bridge. Then the first Mathmech we have is Sigma. So Sigma, if you control no monster in the extra monster zone while this card is in your hand or your graveyard, you can special summon it to your field. But when it leaves the field, it will get banished. This is important because in our combo we will often use this to make Alembertion, which is an XYZ monster. So this is then material of Alembertion. And the important thing to note is if you use then your Alembertion to detach your Sigma, this does not get banished even though we used its effect. So if a monster is used as an XYZ material, it's no longer seen as a monster. And that's how you can cheat with your Sigma and get it back to grave instead of it being banished. But I will explain in the future and in the other replays why this is important. So this is Sigma. You basically always want to send your Sigma via your Mathmech circular. Then we have the two extenders, which are addition and subtraction. Both of them basically do the same. You have to target one monster on the field, and then this card will special summon itself. Subtraction will subtract 1000 attack from the monster you targeted, and addition will add 1000 attack to the monster you targeted. Note that when you activate this effect, these cards cannot attack this turn. But it's not important because you only use these for the bodies. You want to use the monsters to go into your link place. Then we have the second most important card in the deck, that is Mathmech Diameter, which is most of the time your normal summon. And when this card is normal summoned, you can then Monster Reborn one level 4 Cyberse monster in your graveyard. So you can play this card and then Monster Reborn your Mathmech Subtraction, for example. Note here that the Diameter and the Circular are the two cards that enable you to kill your opponent on your second turn, and you only need this or this. This is enough to kill your opponent on his turn, given that he does not have like 1000 of interruptions, of course. Let's say he has a clean board, then this or this alone are enough. Note that this needs one card in the graveyard to work for the reborn effect, but other than that, these cards can kill your opponent outright. So another important thing to note here with the Mathmech Diameter is when you use this for an XYZ summon of a Mathmech, so for our Alembertion and our Laplacian, then for this turn only, the turn that you summon the aberration or ablation only for that turn, this will add an Omni Negate to these. Omni Negate meaning that you can negate a monster effect, you can negate a spell, you can negate a trap, but it does not destroy the card, it only negates it. This is super important and one of the reasons why this deck is so strong, and I will show you how to use this when we come to the combo. So always keep this in mind. There will be a lot of times on your second turn where you can make a second aberration with your diameter just to have a negate, just to be able to negate your opponent when you do your kill combo, okay? So always keep that in mind. And one other important thing, you can detach the diameter. So let's say you make your aberration with your diameter and your circular, for example, then you use the effect to detach them both. This will still have the negate from the diameter then. You can detach this, it doesn't matter. And then we have Circular, the one-star combo of the deck. This is the best card in the deck, which when it came out enabled the deck to be as strong as it is. The effect says you can send one Methmech monster except Methmech Circular from your deck to your graveyard and special summon this card then from your hand to the field. The card that you basically always want to send here, and this is cost, I will talk about this in a moment, is Methmech Sigma. There will be times when you need your Methmech diameter in grave. I will talk about this more when we come to Super Factorial, but most of the time, I would say 90% of the time, you send your Sigma here. So cost, this is another important thing to understand. You can send one Methmech monster except Methmech Circular from your deck to your grave, semicolon. This means this is cost. Whatever your opponent does, even if he can stop this card from special summoning, you will get your Sigma into the grave because this is cost. And this is important because your Sigma can enable your plays. And then if a Methmech monster, or is it a Cyber monster? No, if a Methmech monster is normal or special summoned to your field where you control this monster, you can then add a Methmech spell or trap. This would be Equation or Super Factorial. So what you do here, and you will see this in a moment, you special summon your Methmech Circular, you get your Sigma to the grave, then you can special summon your Sigma if you control no monsters in the extra monster zone, and then Circular will trigger, and then you will add your Super Factorial, but you will see this in a moment. Or you could add your Equation if you need this. So this is Circular. Also, if you use this effect, you can then only attack with one monster in your turn, but it doesn't matter because we are going to kill our opponent with our access code Talker double attack. I will show you. Then we have Parallel Exceed, which funnily is a really good card, but in this deck is not really needed. So there are a lot of times I have this in hand. On the first turn you do not want to use this, I will show you why. And on the second turn, most of the time I end up not like having to use this. I don't need it because as I already said, you basically only need diameter or circular to kill your opponent. Oftentimes I have the situation in which I do not need this card, like I basically don't need it, and then I use it for my Cyanide Mining. As I already said, you can use it for your Small World Bridge, so this is still an amazing card and this should be in the deck. Then I have one Nibiru. As I already said, this is not only because Nibiru is a good card, because there are formats like the Sprite format where Nibiru is bad, but you can, or you need it for your Small World Bridge, so that's why one is in here. And then we have Cyanide Mining. This is like the only purpose basically of this card is you can search your Methmech Circular with it. So if you have Mining in hand, then you can search your Circular. Like there are a lot of cards that are only in here to get your Circular. So Circular, of course, itself, these are free cards. Then you have these three, and then you have Small World. That is it. Yeah, so you have 9 cards in this deck only to search your Circular in the beginning. That's quite cool. Important thing to note here, this you have to send one card from your hand to the graveyard, and then you can add 1 level 4 or lower Cybers monster from your deck to your hand. So you can basically also add these guys, but most times you will add Methmech Circular. Now, this is important. This is also cost. So send card from your hand to your grave is cost. So you need to pay the cost to activate this. So let's say you have this and your diameter, let's say. So you activate this, send your diameter to grave, and now your opponent can ash this. This is a problem because now you have like sent a card to grave and your opponent has ashed you. So you basically lose 2 cards. One situation in which this can be good is if you want to get your Sigma to the grave, because you can have your Sigma in hand or in grave, it doesn't matter, it can activate this effect in the grave or in the hand. So if you lose your Sigma or have to discard your Sigma and then get Ash, that's alright because you can still activate this. Your Small World, for example, this is not cost. So you activate your small world and then your opponent needs to ash you. And if he does not ash you, only then you will do this thing I talked about, show the effect Veiler, show the Nibiru, and go into the circular. So if you have both of these in hand, which happens a lot of time actually because you have 3 of them in the deck, start with your small world if you can. Of course, if you have to use your small world and get rid of your effect Veiler, which can be interruption on your opponent's turn, then you may want to use the Signet Mining. But this is good because if this gets ashed, you do not lose an extra card, and you then can still use your Signet Mining because in our head we set the situation that you have both in hand. So this is for searching circular. This is basically just a monster reborn. Target one Methmech monster in your graveyard, special summon it, and if you do, it gains 1000 attack until the end of the turn. This 1000 attack thing doesn't really come up. The reason why we are not running just monster reborn here, because it would be the same, is because you can search this via your Mathmech circular. This is a good card. We only need it once. Sometimes you need it to kill your opponent to extend your plays, but here. Then we have small world. I already talked about this and how it works. You need this to get you to your circular or your diameter, but there will also be times like for example, let's say you let me think of an example here. Could also be the case that you have, let's say, your diameter in hand and you are like, okay, I have like 2 diameters in hand, I only need 1. Then what you could do is activate your small world, show your diameter, then maybe you have the Nibiru in deck, pitch the Nibiru, and then you can get your effect Veiler to hand, because this is an interruption on your opponent's turn, and this would then be a dead card if you only need 1. So you can also use this to get your hand traps to the hand, if your hand is the way that makes sense, of course. Then we have double Call by the Grave. Don't need to mention any of these cards, and we come to one of the the most important, maybe complicated card in the deck. The card that makes this deck broken is Mathmech Super Factorial. So you search this via your Mathmech circular on your first turn, and then the following thing happens. You can target up to 3 Mathmech monsters in your graveyard with different names, important, and then after that activate one of these effects. We will only activate, let me see, the second effect, which says special summon them, but their effects are negated, doesn't matter. Then immediately after this effect resolves, XYZ summon one Methmech XYZ monster using only those monsters. So what are we going to do with this? And you will see this in the replays. This is the best card in the deck. You can use this to get your Alembertion, because you can use up to 3 Methmechs. But the main thing we want to do with this is get our prime Mathmech Laplation to the field in our opponent's turn, because obviously this is a trap. So the setup, and you will see this in a moment, you want to have on your field is you want to have 3 Mathmechs with different name in the grave. This is important. Normally you will have your circular, your sigma, and your diameter, and you want to have your diameter because this activates your omni negate on your Laplacian. So this is important to have in grave, and this is the reason that you sometimes use your Mathmech circular to get your diameter into grave and not your sigma. So let's imagine a hand where you have your circular and you already have a sigma, so then you could just get your diameter into the grave. So if your opponent interrupts you, you already have this in grave, and these you have in hand you can somehow get into the grave, and then you have your 3 cards that you want to have for your Laplacian. You could also use this and diameter. Of course you could also, if diameter wasn't sent, use this and something else, but the most important card you want to have with the Laplacian is your diameter. So what are you doing? Or what is this accomplishing better? Let's look at the Laplacian to understand why this is such a strong card. Laplacian needs 3 level 4 monsters, so yeah, this works with Super Factorial. So it has the bonus effect, it rarely comes up, but it's important to know, if a Mathmech card you control would be destroyed by card effect, you can detach one material from this card instead and protect this. Doesn't come up very often, but is important. If this card is XYZ summoned, so via this card for example, you can detach up to 3 materials from it, then choose that many effects, okay? And then they activate. So you can detach up to 3 monsters. You can send 1 random card from your opponent's hand to the graveyard, you can send 1 monster your opponent controls to the graveyard, and you can send 1 spell and trap your opponent controls to the graveyard. So in an optimal world you will detach every material from this, 3 material, and then your opponent you can get one of your opponent's hands cards, one of the monsters, and one of the spell and traps. This is super strong and can like destroy your opponent's turn, because this goes -3 on your opponent's turn. And then after that, keep that in mind, when you have made this with diameter, which we do in our basic combo, you still have an omni negate, which you can negate another card that your opponent uses. That's super strong. And then after that, you can use this for another cool play, but I will show you in the live play. Exactly. So a lot of the time you will basically use this or activate this and only like rip one card out of your opponent's hands and then one card from the field, either a spell, a trap, or a monster. But if you know your opponent's deck and can manage it, you can activate this at the right time and then get this to the field and rip 3 cards, which is like super strong. Note also here that this says send one monster, so it doesn't destroy it. So for example, if your opponent does have an Mathmech, which I can for some reason not see here. Guys, that's it. If your opponent has an Mathmech, which basically was made with IP Masquerena, because if you make something with IP Masquerena, then it cannot be destroyed by card effect, you can still send this to the graveyard with replacing, because this is sending, not destroying. Just an example. Okay, so this is what we use the Super Factorial for, but I think it's better to show you this in a replay, then you can better understand what this means. And then we have Alembertion, which is like our core card in the deck. You will make this with your Circular and your Sigma most of the time, so activate Circular, put your Sigma into the grave, then you activate your Sigma, special summon it to the field where your Circular is, then you search your Super Factorial with your Circular, and then you use both of these to make your Alembertion. And as I already said, if you use Sigma for Alembertion and detach it, it will not get banished, it will go to the grave. And if you detach 2, you can then search one Methmech card from your deck to your hand. In the normal combo, you will then search your Diameter, but this is also able to search your trap if your Methmech Circular would have been negated. So it could be the case that your Circular gets a hit with Imperm, and then you can search the trap via your Alembertion. I always make this, or I often make this on the second turn when I want to kill my opponent, just to have the Diameter negate live. I will show you in a moment why this can work. Then we have these 2 cards. There is also another package that you can play, so this is not like mandatory. There is also another version of Methmech, but I like this version, and I just want to show you one other thing. I do not have this in the deck, which is the Almirage, because this is an ultra rare and I haven't crafted it. This is also a good card to put in here if you have it, and I would say if you have this card, what card would I put out? Yeah, if you have this card, then put out the other Laplacian. You basically only need 1, but it's also cool to have 2. This card can also be good, and I will explain in a moment. So these are part of our core combo. The Link Disciple needs 1 level 4 or lower Cybers monster, so everything here works basically. You can tribute 1 monster this card points to. This will every time be your Link Devotee. Draw 1 card and then place 1 card from your hand on the bottom of your deck, so you can basically make your hand better. Yeah, you only need this effect to tribute these, but in the combo I will show you, we will use the Alembertion to tribute these. Why do we want to tribute this? This also needs 1 level 4 or lower Cybers monster, and if this card is special summoned, for the rest of this turn you cannot link summon link 3 or higher link monsters, so this locks you in link 2 monsters, and that is the reason why you only want to use this on your first turn when you do your combo, not on your second turn when you want to kill your opponent, otherwise you can't. And if this co-link card, so this is obviously co-linked, if you put this under the Link Disciple, this has the arrow down, this has the arrow up, put this under this, then this is co-linked. And if this co-link card is tributed, you can special summon 2 link tokens, which are Cybers, and then you can use the link tokens to make further plays. I will show you in the replay. So we either tribute this card via this card or this card. It depends. 90% of the time you will use the Alembertion. And oh, that I have forgotten to mention, you can use also the Alembertion effect to tribute 1 Cybers monster. So as I already said, most of the time we are tributing this. And then you can special summon from the grave 1 Methmech monster. This can be important if you need to extend your plays, if you need another Methmech on the field, a level 4 Methmech that is, then you can use this to tribute this and get another Methmech on the field. For example, the update gemmer here, which is an important part in our killing combo, needs 2 level 2 or higher Cybers monsters. This is not a level 2 monster, this is a rank 4 monster, so this does not work. But you can exchange this, if you have it on the field, for a normal Methmech monster, and a normal Methmech monster level 4, that would work to make our update gemmer. It sounds complicated, but it's super simple. I will show you in the replays. And then we have the Almirage, which if you have it, put it in here. The reason we want to use this is, let's imagine a hand where you have an Ash and a Parallel Exceed and nothing of these, and you cannot search anything. This is bad, but you can still play if you have the Almirage, because Almirage can be made with a normal summoned monster with 1000 or less attack. So let's say you have the Ash. You summon the Ash, then you link your Ash away into the Almirage, and then because you have link summoned, you can use your Parallel Exceed from hand, put one Parallel Exceed on the field, this becomes level 4, and then you can summon another Parallel Exceed from your deck, and then you have 2 level 4 Cybers monsters, and these can make a Liberation and can start the whole combo, okay? So this is why you have this in the deck. Then we have Lingo Rebo. I always make this on my first board just to have, it's made with 1 level 4 or lower Cybers monster. I will show you why this makes sense. And you can quick effect, tribute this card and negate a trap card. So on your opponent's turn, you pass to your opponent, and your opponent could theoretically use an Imperm on you, but then you can just tribute this to negate the Imperm, or maybe your opponent uses evenly matched to destroy your whole board. You can also use just quick effect, tribute this to negate the trap. So this is a really cool card, but that's basically the only thing you want to use this for. And then we have another core card, the Cybers Wicked, which is made from 2 Cybers monsters. This you will mainly use on your first turn, and I will show you in the combo video. This link summoned card cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. That is important because if you have no place left, you can basically make this card, then your opponent cannot kill it. Let's say you're in a situation where your opponent has 0 hand cards, you have 0 hand cards, you make this card here, he cannot kill it, so you can basically leave it on the field until you have something to play, and he cannot destroy it. Cybers monsters this card points to cannot be destroyed by card effects, so that's cool, but that's not the reason we are using this. If a monster is special summoned to a zone this card points to while you control this monster, you can banish 1 Cybers monster from your graveyard and add 1 Cybers tuner, that would be Sigma or Diameter, to your hand. And I will show you in the combo guide why this is important and how this helps us. Then we have one part of the killing combo, which is Update Jammer. This needs 2 level 2 or higher Cybers monster. I explained to you why this does not work, so you basically need 2 of your Methmech monsters. Also a Parallel Exceed, which was summoned to the field, will work. And then once per battle doing your damage calculation, if one of your Cybers monster battles quick effect, you can activate this effect, negate all other card effects on the field until the end of the damage step. This can be important, but this is not the effect that we need this card for. We need this card for this effect here. If this card is sent to the graveyard as a link material, and we will make access code talker with this, then that link monster can make a second attack during each battle phase this turn. This is part of the killing combo, which you need to use this as link material for your access code talker. Then your access code talker basically has 4300 attack, and your access code talker by itself can clear the board via its effect. We will come to this in a moment. And then you can double attack your opponent for 8600 damage. Sometimes this even has 5300 damage, it depends. Then you have IP Masquerina, which will be part of our end board on the first turn, you will see. Then we have Splash Mage, which is an awesome extender. You need 2 Cybers monsters, so anyone will work. You can also use your Prime Mathmech and Immersion, for example. And then you can target 1 Cybers monster in your graveyard and special summon it in defense position, but negate its effects. This is also most of the time part of our kill combo. I will show you that in a moment, because you can use this to get another 2 plus basically. And this is a level 2 monster, and this is a level 2 monster, so these 2 together here can make your access code talker. That's why this is part of our combo. Then we have the transcode talker, which is not that important, but sometimes you need your transcode talker to go into your killing play if your Splash Mage is not available anymore. So I think you do not really want to use this on your first turn. Some people do, to go into the decode talker heat soul, but I will show you a different playing style of the deck. There is also the style where you end on your Decode Talker Heat Soul, but that's not the play or the style I want to show you. And then we have Decode Talker Heat Soul. This you sometimes make on your opponent's second turn, and this has the cool effect that for 1000 life points, quick effect, you can draw a card. So you can draw a card on your opponent's turn, then on your turn, your opponent's turn, your turn. This is a really good card when you're ending up in a grind game, where basically your opponent has no cards left, you have no cards left, and every one of you has few resources, then making this to draw a lot of cards can make the game, can win you the game. So this is a cool card, but in the version I show you, this rarely comes up, but I still like to have this here just in case I need to grind. Then Appaloosa, I don't need to say anything to this. I will show you why this is important and becomes a good card. And then Access Code Talker, of course, this we will use to finish our opponent. Genau. If this card, if you have linked summon this, so let's say your opponent has monsters on the field and you can make 2 attacks with this and it has 4,300. Then you can use the effect of the Access Code Talker, which nothing can chain to, by the way. So if the effect is activated, your opponent cannot do anything until the effect is resolved. And then you can banish one of your linked monsters from the grave and destroy 1 card on the field. So you make your Access Code Talker to kill your opponent with your update gemmer, so it has 2 attacks, and then you can basically destroy everything your opponent has left on the board, so you can attack twice directly. Note here that you can only do this as often as you have different attributes. So let's say we have the Decode Talker Hitsu in the grave, the Appaloosa, and the Transcode, Splash Mage, and Masquerina. Then we could use this 5 times because this is dark, this is water, this is earth, this is fire, this is wind. If you only have the Masquerina and let's say the Dingoribo, then you can only use this 1 time because these are dark. Note here that you can also use this on the field, so banish itself. So be careful if you only have 1 dark monster left, this card here, then do not activate this effect because then you have to tribute this here. You have to tribute itself. Okay. I think a lot of these Mathmech cards and the combinations make more sense if you see this in gameplay. So we have gone over all the cards. This goes out now. And now we will hop over into some games and I will explain you how the combos and the killing combo work. So guys, let me show you the basic combo which you can do if you have Mathmech Circular. Obviously this hand would also be able to search the circular via the small world. You could small world, like I will show you just for the, this is not part of the combo, but just to show you how small world works. You pick the Ash. The only thing, you can pick the Effect Veiler then because the only thing that the Effect Veiler and the Ash have in common is a 0 attack. You pick the Effect Veiler, this is your middle bridge. And then you can go into your Mathmech Circular. Nibiru can also be your middle bridge. Nibiru can also be your starter, as can Effect Veiler. So you can go Effect Veiler into Nibiru into Circular, or could go Nibiru into Effect Veiler into Circular. Let's grab the Circular and just imagine we only had this card in hand, and as I already said, Parallelic Seed, not that important. Activate the effect. Now we send for cost. This is important because it says it here in the semicolon. This is cost, this always happens. And then we will do the most basic of combos with the deck. I will show you in another replay, another line. You search your Super Factorial. In a follow-up play you could also search your equation. Then you go into a Mathmech Alem version, put it here, doesn't really matter. This automatically triggers when summoned. You will detach both your Mathmechs to the grave. And now you can search your diameter, which is the next important part. And as I already said, if you use this for the summon of Alembertion or Laplation, this will have Omni Negate on the card, but only in the turn that it was special summoned. But it's super important when I go for the killing combo. I tend to always make the negate if I can, if I have enough material, so that I am safe then. So we have now these on the field. It doesn't really matter, by the way, what which you revive. You could also revive the Sigma. It doesn't matter at this point. We then go into the Link Disciple and then go. Here's the point. Like I talked about this, you do not need the Exceed. It's more like you do not want to use the Exceed here, because if you do, then your board is too full with monsters, and for the combo I want to show you, that does not work. Note that if you had another monster here, like another, let's say a Mathmech monster, you would then use the effect of Link Disciple to tribute your Link Devotee. Now we are going to use the effect of Alembertion. We use the effect of Alembertion, we need to tribute this. This is in the grave now and will activate in a moment, and now we can special summon a Mathmech from hand or field. we will summon something. Let's summon the diameter, doesn't really matter, and then activate this effect. So if you would have already had something here, you then need to use the effect of Disciple, because otherwise you have 2 cards here, and that is too much. We need the space for the turn, for the play we are doing on the next turn. So this is where you are right now. Then you can go and make your Wicked out of these 2. I want to get this in the grave, Wicked, and Wicked. Now we don't need to, we don't want to activate this. You get make the Linguribo. Cool thing about Linguribo, this is more important in a best of 3 setup, but Linguribo saves you from being evenly matched, because you can quick effect tribute this card and then negate a trap. This also saves you from being impermed on your opponent's turn, so that's quite nice. So now you can use the Wicked, because monster was special summoned to this zone. And now we need to banish 1 Cybers monster and add 1 Cybers tuner. You always want to banish the Alimbersion, because these ones you need for your finishing combo with your Access Code Talker. You can now add 1 of these for your follow-up play, because this card alone, if you have at least 1 other Cybers monster, 1 other Mathmech in the grave, this card alone next turn will go for the full kill combo. So this alone can kill your opponent. Obviously it depends on what happens next on the board. But if it were like an empty board, this alone is enough to just kill your opponent. Mathmech Circular also, these 2 cards here are enough to kill your opponent only by these cards. This needs 1 Mathmech in the grave, but that's all. We set the Super Factorial, and this is basically our end board. Does not look like much, but it is, because this basically is Appaloosa, or that's what we are mainly go into. So let's just, for example, let's show you the Super Factorial here, because this is what we want to do. You want to activate this at a moment when your opponent has at least 1 card either in his trap or field zone, or in the monster zone. So you can at least destroy 1 card on the field. If you know the deck your opponent plays and can wait longer, then wait longer, so you can get the full benefit of Laplation and ripping 3 cards or destroying 3 cards. So we choose these. Make sure that you always choose your diameter here. You can see it in the corner, because now the diameter negate effect is live. Always, this banishes something, it seems. It doesn't matter. So always use the diameter for this, because this gives your XYZ summoned Mathmech an Omni Negate, which we have live now. And now you want to activate the effect of Laplation. We are going to pitch 2. It does not matter which ones you pitch here, the effect of diameter is still there. And now we can rip a card out of the hand, destroy this, or send this to grave. This is, by the way, send to grave, not destroy, and that is good. And now basically it ends now. He will not do anything else. What you now want to do in an optimal world is you want to negate something with your Laplation, then the negate is gone, and then you could still activate your Masquerina. And obviously this depends. Sometimes you go into the Heat Soul with this and this to draw a card on his turn and then on your turn, but most of the time I go into IP Masquerina, and then you can use then you can use the Laplation as well, because he already has used his Omni Negate. And then you have an Appaloosa with 3,200 points on the board, which can then further negate your opponent's plays. The important thing that you need to understand is you do not want to kill your opponent on his turn. It's not like you do not have to destroy him completely with what we just did here. The important thing is that he used a lot of resources, and that we now, I mean, we can kill him with just this, but we have this as an extender. We have this where we can pitch this and get another Mathmech. We have the Parallel Seed extender. So you only want to drain your opponent out of his resources. And just to have shown you the combo, we will see it in another video again. But I will show you, and what you could do now here. So let me show you this. So if you want to be safe, I talked about this, then you go and make an inversion here with your diameter, because now at this point right here you have the Omni Negate live, and now you have a negate to negate whatever he does. And then, because we are basically have gone -1 with the Alimbersion here, you can then just add 1 of the extenders, addition or subtraction, to have another body on the field. So okay, let's imagine everything else in the hand wasn't there, right? So you can then use your addition. Keep in mind that you can only do this So don't do this play if you really only have diameter. If you only have diameter, then you need to go into the basic kill play. But our hand has more extension that we use now. We pitch the Sigma to the grave, get the circular on the board, and now we have the protection here. These two can now go into the Splash Mage. And this can activate its effect. You want to revive a Methmech, does not really matter which one. And now we basically need one other Methmech to be able to use our combo. We could now use the Alimbersion, tribute it, and get one Methmech back. Or we can just use the Cyanide Mining here. Pitch, whatever, it does not really matter. Could have also just used our Exceed. We have used the addition, right? So that I have to check now. Yeah, so we can get our subtraction here. We can then activate it, target whatever, it does not matter. Then summon this. And once again, this is basically the full combo where you can now go into Update Jammer. And just note, I just did it to have the Omni Negate, which is still on the field right now. You can then summon Parallel Exceed, you don't have to. Take these, both of these, yeah, we want to use this as 2, also as 2, that's right. And we still don't have the negate on the field. So then you activate this first, and then the graveyard second. You target whatever, both are linked to, it does not matter. Then you activate this second, so you're basically safe from halfness if that ever happens. And then, like I talked about, you can use the Access Code Talker effect to destroy every card on the field, as long as you have link material in the grave with different attributes. So we have 1, 2, 3 different attributes here. Always keep that in mind. You can basically destroy 3 times now. We don't need that. We have not activated the effect, or we have activated the effect of Methmech Circular. It's always important to note, if you activate this effect to pitch something to grave, special summon it, then you can only attack with 1 monster. That doesn't matter, because we can double attack with our Access Code Talker, and then he is dead. But let's continue to our next replay. So what I have here is a live game in which I played against an opponent, and I want to show you a few things. So let's look at our hand at first. We do not have the circular, but we do not need the circular. We could also, just to show it to you, we could also just special summon the Sigma here, then activate the effect of subtraction, special summon the subtraction. We would have then have 2 Methmech level 4 monsters. No, I don't do this in a moment, sorry. And then we can go into Alimbersion. Alimbersion could search as the circular, and everything else would then go according to play. But what we will do now here is use the small world, because we have the Nibiru, we don't need it. We use small world here to pitch the Nibiru. Here I make a mistake, by the way, sorry. This should have not been circular, this should have been the effect veiler and then circular. I misclicked here, I misclicked into the circular, and then I basically had to go into the effect veiler, but it's alright, I will end up showing you the play I talked about. So special summon the Sigma, and just to summarize, this should be circular. So effect veiler in the middle and circular in the end, I just misclicked. We special summon the Sigma, then we special summon the subtraction, to go into Alimbersion. We drop both of this to the grave, and note here that normally if you special summon this and this leaves the field, it gets banished, but here it's back in the grave. And now we have 2 Methmechs in the grave. You always want to take a look at how many Methmechs you have in grave, because at the end of your first turn you basically need 3, and one of them should be diameter, okay? This is important for the setup of the grave. So now we search circular. Now we activate circular, and in this instant I pitch another Sigma, because I have the diameter, I still have my normal summon and can get this to the board. If your normal summon would have been used up already, then you definitely would have pitched your diameter to the grave. So you have basically, let's imagine this is diameter, so then you have all your 3 cards that you need in the grave, but as we still have diameter in hand, I still can normal summon it, it's alright. This special summons, then we normal summon diameter, and then we summon 1 to field. This also activates now, because we have summoned a Methmech monster while this is on the field. Chain link 1, chain link 2, this will search our trap, and this will summon one of our Methmechs. It doesn't matter which one you take here. So there's our trap. There is our subtraction. Now we go into the basic play, we make the Link Disciple, it does not matter which ones you use here, and now Link Devotee. And now, one important thing to note, that I showed you in the other replay. In the other replay, we use the Alembertion to tribute the Link DB3. That we will not do here because we already have this on field. So if I use the Alembertion now, then I would special summon another Methmech, so let's say the Diameter. So then we would have this and Diameter. The problem is, if you do it that way, then on the end board you have only 2 slots left here. So if I would use this now and summon another monster, on my end board I would have 2 spots free when my opponent gets to his turn. Problem is that I need 3 spots for my Mathmech Super Factorial. So you always want to keep 3 spots open if you play your Super Factorial into your opponent's second turn. That's super important. That's the reason. So now we get this lock effect here. If this card is special summoned for the rest of this turn, you cannot link summon level 3 or higher monsters. And now I use this one to tribute this. Otherwise I would have used this. I draw an Ash and then I put the effect Veiler back because Ash is the better hand trap, in my opinion. Then this effect, it activates in Grave and we summon the tokens. Summon the tokens, I make Cyber's Wicked out of this. Get into Lingoribo, this activates, and now, as I said, you want to definitely use your Alembertion because the link monsters here you need for your access code talker to banish to kill your opponent. We grab, that's important right now, I don't know if I have mentioned that in the other replay. You always grab your Diameter, so this is the reason why the Wicked is so important, because with the Wicked you can guarantee that you have your Diameter for your next turn. So we basically now have everything we need to kill our opponent because we have Diameter and we have at least one Mathmech in Grave. So this is our end board now, you have seen this already. Let's go into our opponent's turn. He uses Raigeki here and I use my Epimasquerina. Of course Raigeki would destroy everything here, and note here that if you link summon a monster with Epimasquerina, it cannot be destroyed by card effect. So whatever we make here with the Masquerina, we will make Appaloosa, of course, will not be destroyed by Raigeki because it's made with Epimasquerina. That's nice. We go into Appaloosa, which has now 2400 attacks, so we can negate 3 times. This does not get destroyed. Our guy is playing a blue ice deck, which, yeah, okay. Just do it. And now he has 1 card on the field, and this is the moment I activate Super Factorial. He fusion summons something, it does not matter. Goes into some other blue ice card. And we activate. He destroys this, but this still activates, of course. Laplation. And now we activate Laplation. This and 1 hand card goes to Grave. He plays 1 card, battle phase, main phase, and gives it back to us. So let me just show you again the killing combo. Just imagine, okay guys, just imagine that none of these cards were here, okay? You use this, get something back here. I special summon this, and now I go. So what I do now here is I go into Alembertion to have another negate play online. So because I have used the Diameter here. Oh no, sorry. Don't listen to me. Sorry. So yeah, just imagine Diameter has resummoned Diameter, and you use both of these. I already had. I had another one, but you use both of these to make your Splash Mage. Okay. Summon your Splash Mage. Make your Update Jammer. Make your Access Code Talker. Chaining 1. Chaining 2. Now you can destroy this card here. And attack 2 times, and the game is over. I will show you one other video where I show you an important part about the killing combo. So guys, in the last replay I made it maybe a bit difficult. I want to show you the kill combo if you really only have, let's say, Diameter as follow-up. Let me first get one of our other Mathmechs into the grave, the circular here. It doesn't matter what we search here. I only need this setup, exactly. Because as I already said, you need your Diameter and 1 Mathmech in the grave. So this, you will have this in hand on your second turn because you searched this with your Cyber's Wicked. And let's imagine none of these cards are here, okay? We summon our Diameter. Diameter effect to revive our circular, okay? Do not want to activate Max C here, of course. Then you go into your Alembertion, and you can also do this with your Circular. Circular is also a 1-card combo to do exactly this and kill your opponent. But if you have Diameter, that's way better, because at this point now, when this hits the field, we not only have our Alembertion, we also have our Omni-Negate Life, okay? We activate this, we add a card, and what we want to add here is our Circular now. We add Circular, we activate Circular, pitch, Sigma, get Circular to the board, get Sigma to the board. And here's basically a point where you can decide, like activate the Methmech Circular, and now you have to decide if do you need another extension, another Monster Reborn, which you do not need to kill your opponent, by the way, but maybe he interrupts you on something and then this can like finish the play, or you are saying I want to be more safe. Maybe if I don't get to kill him, if he interrupts me, I get my Super Factorial, so I can use the strong Laplacian combo on his turn. Let's just grab this, it does not really matter because you don't need it and I don't think the bot will interrupt us. What you are doing right here now is you use your Splash Mage. Let me think about this for a moment. Does not you want to use your Alembertion here and something else, because you cannot use your Alembertion to make your sorry, I forgot this. Let me revive this, then I can show you what I mean. Exactly. So you cannot use your Alembertion to make your update jammer. That's what I wanted to say. You need 2 Cybers monsters, 2 level 4 Cybers monsters. That's why you use your Alembertion and something else to make the Splash Mage. Revive something, it does not matter what, and now we can make update jammer with these 2. And I mean the rest of the combo line you have already seen. So this time you could see that we basically only have used our Diameter, nothing else. And we still have the kill combo. And as I already said, you can also do this with your Methmech Circular. You would then start with your Circular, get your Sigma to the grave, Circular on the board, Sigma on the board, search your equation, then go into Alembertion, activate Alembertion, search your Diameter. So we started with Diameter and we searched Circular with Alembertion. If you had the Circular, you would then search your Diameter with Alembertion, just the other way around, but the result is the same, okay? So just for good measures, we play this through. So that is basically you being able to kill your opponent without needing more than 1 card. But as I already said, could be the case that he interrupts maybe. So one common point where he could interrupt you is your Splash Mage. You summon your Splash Mage and then he infinite impermanence you, and then you have a problem. But if you have the equation searched via your Circular, you then can use the equation to reborn a monster. You would have done the same thing with the Splash Mage. And of course now I could kill the opponent. I am not going to do this right now. I hope this was understandable, and this is also the end of the video. I hope you liked the guide. Please let me know in the comment if this was helpful, or if it was like too complicated, maybe I should have gone more into detail. Please let me know, and if you like my videos, please consider to subscribe, hit the thumbs up. This really supports my channel, and I hope we will see each other in the next video.